initially came in, the first thing Dr. Ken said to me was, well, take off your shoes and socks and let me see your feet. Which, you know, I thought to myself, well, I'm here for a hip issue. Why do you want to look at my feet? And, but, you know, I did as I was told, and I had a pretty severe case of hammer toe on both my feet. And Dr. Ken asked me what my background was, and I told him I, you know, served in the Marine Corps and retired after 25 years as a police officer. I was 7 years on SWAT, 4 years as a drill instructor at the police academy. And Dr. Ken looked at me and he said, do you know what causes that? And I said, yeah, it's hereditary. You know, my father had hammer toe, my brother has hammer toe. And he looked at me and he said, no. He goes, it's stress. And he said, based on your background, your fight or flight response is constantly switched on versus being an innate response. And he said it makes total sense. You know, you wore combat boots for close to 30 years, and your feet and your toes were gripping the ground constantly, trying to stabilize the rest of your body. And I just thought to myself, okay, you know, maybe. And the next thing he said, which stays with me always, is, you know, I can straighten your toes out. And I said, all right, challenge accepted. Let's see what we can do. Yeah, I noticed the differences almost immediately. There were slight differences, but I just started to notice that, you know, my toes were slowly starting to straighten. My arch, which is still high, did start to come down a little bit. And another thing that I was unable to do initially, because my feet were so locked in, I could not get my fingers in between my toes. Okay. That's how tight everything was clamped down. Yeah. And now, in addition to my toes being nearly straight as arrows, I can also put my fingers in between my toes, rotate the foot around, because, you know, that increased my ankle flexibility as well. Realize is, unless you're in a field, there's 20,000 receptors in your foot. And, you know, you don't realize the small things you can do. One of the amazing things about Dr. Ken is he combines a philosophy of Eastern and Western techniques, which is literally the best of both worlds. And, you know, if he doesn't have a, I don't want to say a solution. If he doesn't have a readily available answer or a readily available technique that's gonna get you results, he's gonna research it. You know, with Dr. Ken, it's like, you know, his education didn't stop once he got his doctorate. You know, he is constantly researching, constantly looking at new techniques, constantly testing new techniques. It's really just a gift that we have him in New Jersey, and that we have access, you know, to somebody so talented. But, you know, Dr. Ken Cheng is, in my opinion, hands down the best in his field. He's constantly showing me new techniques, you know, and on top of that, he explains why it's supposed to work. Even if it doesn't make sense, he will explain why something is supposed to work. Like I said, it is for a 45-minute drive for me. But how do you not seek the best help that you can, because it's a little bit further of a drive?